Hi, welcome along to Transfer Daily and taking a look at the transfers of the players that have been linked today. And interestingly, this morning I was looking at a story that's been in the Metro newspaper where they are claiming that Arsenal are looking to make one more big signing before the end of the transfer window. And they've suggested three players that they think that one of these three players are going to be the real big signing, the final major signing that Arsenal make for the summer. One of them's Edison Cavani, who we spoke about. He's going to be, his valuation apparently is about £51 million. The other one is Marco Reus, of course, plays for Borussia Dortmund. Said to have a release clause that comes into effect next year, which means he could go for about £20 million. And the third one is Sami Khedira, who, of course, we've been, linked with all summer. So I thought, let me look at those three. As I said, all three of them sort of been linked with Arsenal, and the paper suggesting that one of these could be like that big mega signing, apart from Alexis Sanchez, for Arsenal. Now, I thought I'd just have a look at those three. So Cavani, very expensive at £51 million. I know we were interested in him before. His agent claims that Arsenal previously made a bid for him earlier on in the year, so they were very interested. Would be a great signing. He was a player of brilliant quality when he was in Italy. The Royce situation, there are rumours coming out of Spain that Atletico Madrid are in talks with Royce and are trying to sign him. There's been a price of about £25 million suggested, and that they're trying to bring Royce over to play for Atletico Madrid. And Dortmund might be open to it because they just realised that if he does want to go, then next year they'll get even less for him because it will just be a matter of meeting the release clause. And the third one, Sami Khedira, we saw the other day in the Super Cup he was left out of that, although you could look on it and say, he might have been left out because he's only just returned back. Remember, even our German players have only just returned back, but people putting one and two together and saying, he was left out. And the paper Marca, which is very close to Real Madrid, have been reporting that Real Madrid definitely want to offload him. They want to get rid of him. They want to get him off of the wages. They've bought in all these players. You saw the other day when Real Madrid was playing, it was the most expensive team ever out on a pitch. They've bought in all these players like Toni Kroos, and they've got James Rodriguez now, as well as Bale and Ronaldo. So they need to lessen the bill. So he's a player that they're keen to offload. So could it be that Arsenal might wait, make it draw down near to the transfer window, and then make a last-minute move for one of these players? And if they did, which one of those would you guys say would be the best one to get? For me, looking at all three of them, if it was possible to pull off, the one that I would say that would be the best signing for Arsenal would be Royce. He's quality. He's absolutely quality. He plays on that left-hand side where we've had a problem, and I think he's a player you could convert into a striker as well. And for that sort of price that's been suggested, I think that'd be absolute steal. But Metro claiming that one of those are going to be one of those three that are possible to dislodge, Arsenal may bid for. And it's exciting. If we do go for one of those, it's exciting. Whether Arsene Wenger's thinking that way is another matter. I mean, Arsene Wenger may be looking on it and thinking to himself, if one of these players are available, it's too good to turn down. Sort of like what happened with Ozil. I don't think that he was focused on getting Ozil in, but when he found out that Ozil was available, he was like, you just cannot turn down, and he admitted it himself. You can't turn down a player of this sort of quality, even if they're, you've already got sort of players in that position. You've got to get a person like that because they're just so good. So we have to watch this space and see what happens with that. But those are three players that have been linked. Kostas Manolas, that we've been talking about over the past few days in that centre-back position, which we so desperately need to fill. Again, it's being talked up again today. Now, we were hearing that Juventus were being linked with a move for Manolas as well. Well, we are hearing now today that Juventus have pulled out. They're not no longer interested in bringing him in. Christian Karamba, who he is the strategic advisor for Olympiacos. He's the one who's come out and said that Juventus are not interested no longer in bringing him in. However, he has stated that they have had bids from some English clubs. Now, whether that one of those English clubs is Arsenal or not, we don't know. But I certainly think that he would be a decent signing for Arsenal and a player young enough to develop into a first teamer. So that could be a pretty decent signing if that happens. But Juventus, who, if Arsenal are going after him, would be the big threat. They're not interested anymore, so that opens the way for Arsenal if they want to go for him. Another player in the centre-back position who, interestingly, is available now. His dad has confirmed that he wants to leave the club, and that's Toby Alderweireld. Now, remember Alderweireld, he played in the World Cup. It's been a big prospect. Remember when he moved to Atletico Madrid, it was a big move. A lot of people talking this guy up as being a really, really top player. Hasn't really worked out for him at Atletico Madrid, and they're looking to offload him now. He wasn't a regular starter for them. And he'd be available at around about £10 million. Belgium international. Can play centre-back, can also play in the right-back position, although we've got loads of players now who can play in that right-back position all of a sudden. He is available as well, and could that be a player that maybe Arsenal are taking a look at to fill that centre-back position? Because, as I said, effectively at the moment we only have two. I know that Chambers has looked okay there, but he's just filling in as well. So effectively we only have two. So another player there being lit there, Alderweireld. And just to tell you about a couple of players that, well, ex-Arsenal players really. Nicholas Bentner on the verge of joining Wolfsburg. I mean, this guy, it just doesn't seem to. He just seems to go from loan to loan to loan. Then he's back at Arsenal. Then he's left Arsenal now. He's on the verge of joining Wolfsburg. For me, a player, I know he's much maligned, but a player that's just never focused and lived up to his potential. He's better than what he's shown. And he's got a chance now of joining, on the verge of joining Wolfsburg in Germany, which is a very good team. And Emmanuel Frimpong, remember him? Well, he's been on trial at Sturm Graz over there in Austria, and apparently they've turned him down. They're not interested. Now, I really feel sorry for this kid. I think this is a kid that's been very ill-advised earlier on in his career. He had the potential. I remember at one time, everybody's looking at him and thinking he is going to be the future defensive midfielder for Arsenal, but for some reason he wasn't focused enough on his football. Too many outside interests, Twitter every minute, this, that. He needed to focus. He didn't. He went out last year. Arsenal sold him to Barnsley. They've gone down. They've offloaded him now. And now he's in between clubs, and I really hope that he can get himself back on track, because I remember when he played for Arsenal a couple of times and he had great potential. He looked a player, and he's really got to get himself in gear and focus, because he's still got it. His career doesn't have to be over. He just needs to get focused. He's been unlucky as well, let me just say, with injuries. I remember when he went to Wolves, was doing well, got a bad injury that knocked him out of the team for ages. This guy, focus, Emmanuel, focus, and you can get yourself back on track. But leave all the bench and the Instagram and Twitter, leave that till later on. Just focus on your football right now, and you can get back on track. Let's see what you guys have to say about all the transfer rumours from yesterday. Jack Miller said, if Giroud can get 20 goals with our world-class midfield, then Cavani can get 40 a season minimum. Al Bundy says Arsenal just needs a defender, and that's true. That's a top priority. We've got to get a defender in and a defensive midfielder, those two. Bandit says Cavani went to PSG for £50 million and wages, sorry, €50 million and wages of €10 million per year. We could not afford it, and I highly doubt this will happen. If we can't get Khedira, where the hell are we going to get the money to pay PSG, let alone pay Cavani's wages of €10 million? He could have to. He would have to take a massive pay cut. Come on, this is pure hype. It may seem that way, but I think that Arsenal could afford it. If you look at actually the signings and the outgoings that Arsenal have had this season, they have actually made quite a bit of money as well, like in the sale of players like Vermaelen. They've had money coming back in. They saved a lot of money on wages as well. They could afford to make a big signing. Remember, at the start of the season, we were told they've got up to £100 million to spend. They haven't spent that much yet. And as I said, they've received money back the other way and saved a hell of a lot of money on wages. Like Nicholas Bentner was on like £50,000 a week. Thomas Vermaelen was on £70,000 a week. You know, all of these players have come off of their wage bill, and they'll probably get rid of a few more as well before the end of the transfer window. So they could afford it. It's not. I don't think it's a matter of whether they can afford it or not. I think it's a matter of whether they want to spend the money or not. But they could afford to bring in one of these players. They have got the money. Josh Barrett says, Arsenal Fan TV, I think we should try and get our hands on Fabian Schär, William Carvalho, or Marco Reus. And again, those are three good players. Joban Daher says, I don't see us getting another striker, only a CDM and a CB centre-back. If he secures one tomorrow, though, then maybe he will turn his attention to a striker before the 31st of August. And last one I'll do here, it says, Man from Orient says, I do not believe in that rumour, especially since Wenger said he won't sign a striker. I think Wenger may sign another defender, but that's it. We desperately need a defensive midfielder. But Wenger won't sign a defensive midfielder and play Arteta there, which will cost us deeply. I think the contract of Arteta and Flamini will run out next summer, and maybe after that, Wenger will finally sign a defensive midfielder next summer. We need one right now. Trust me, we all know that. We all know we need one right now, and we've got to get that in. Of course, the first game of the season kicks off tomorrow, and really looking forward to that game. And unbelievably, with Crystal Palace sacking, or what I say, by mutual consent, but Tony Pulis has left Crystal Palace, so they're without a manager, and he was the inspiration last year, with them being so successful, and to do that just before a big game. And I ain't complaining. I'm not complaining at all, because that's all good for Arsenal, but it's really baffling that. But Arsenal have got to go out there now and take full advantage of that tomorrow when we play Crystal Palace. Let's go out there and, when you see a weakness in a team, which is, to me, that's a weakness now, the fact that their manager's gone. You probably got players there that are feeling a bit, upset because they were very close to him. They feel like their careers might be in a bit of limbo now because the man that brought them in has gone. That's where we've got to put our foot on their neck, and we've got to go for the jugular. We really got to go for it tomorrow. Let's get off to a great start tomorrow. Let's, give the fans, Arsenal players, something beautiful tomorrow that really, gets us in a good feeling for this new season. Follow it on from the FA Cup. We're looking forward to that game tomorrow, Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, and you never know, one of these big signings before the end of the window, and I'll be so happy.